you might start to think that you're breaking out of the city of Ontario, actually, because it's at a scale where, I mean, what, the freeway is a boundary, or whatever this diagonal is?
It's a main street. This right here?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just
and then you have the freeway going vertically, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, they're arbitrary boundaries anyway. So, and I guess the other thing I kept looking for was, you know, if you're going to revive or resuscitate the whole notion of the library and books, that there actually could be some kind of kinetic thing that happens with this diagram. That as these things move, there's something happens. There's, you know, flashing lights, or, you know, I don't know what it is, but something that would start to give more life to the project. Because it's sort of, even though it's, you know, very complex, it's a sort of, in a way, kind of dead. And I'm looking for something that would really challenge us in terms of its expression.
Alex, I wonder about some of the fantasy things that you do, right, which are pretty encouraging and liberating perhaps. But I wonder about a sense of transformation. And I think when I see this, and again, I may have explained this before, these little concrete casts that translate, I believe, into an attitude towards eroding concrete, physical, logistics building. And I wonder about that. And I guess, John, or somebody was mentioning possibly of like these $1 million interventions or a little reading somewhere. You know, and instead you look at, you know, in Los Angeles with a long history of ice cream trucks and taco trucks and library trucks and art school trucks that came to my elementary. I really wonder about an approach that requires such an intensive plug-in rather than something more along the lines of a lighter infrastructural plug to activate this space, and that maybe the space that is super explored and undervalued is the space between the sidewalk and the construct tilt-up slab. And you have so much there, and I wonder about that. But I think the real issue for me is actually, maybe that's just a sort of an iteration of, I wonder about a sort of rigor, the way that it's displayed in that drawing and that model and those guys there, but a sense of rigor in towards transforming into not away from the built environment. Right? And I don't know that it should not be taken as a sort of like, you know, creating a building, but rather basic understanding of some constructs. And I get fearful when I see this model, and I'm not sure what you're getting from it. And when you see those sections, and at some point it stops transforming, it stops evolving in towards a space of habitation and a space of social engagement. And I think that's super critical. I would have liked to have seen, I think those drawings of the library, to me, tell me not much more than what these little plastic cards do. And that's a little troubling, because I would like to see that they actually start to, at every level, not just conceptually reinventing the project, but allowing every drawing tool and every model making tool and every concrete casting tool to let it be a point of question and a point of development for the project itself and for an idea, but also as a way of testing your own comprehensiveness in terms of an understanding of basic forces, for example.
Oddly enough, you're right. When if you had zoomed in a lot more to a specific situation, you would have arrived at something that was closer to your original research, which everybody kind of loves, the erosion, the specific nature of you attacking the wall. We told you to attack the warehouse as opposed to just right beside it and then stop. So, you know, you probably by zooming in into material details of deployment or people kind of opening up things and things transforming, you would have come back to your concept and title altogether. But, you know, I have to now do closing comments because we have to move on. But I think it's a really nice strategy, and I see it as a very rich exploration and a very kind of succinct way of looking at Ontario. as this null place, and you've managed to disperse something into it, and yet it all comes together and makes a space. I think, you know, we all are familiar with food cart strategies, which means that, yes, they're all dispersed and you get a little text message where they're coming, but we are architects and we deal with social spaces in a more forceful way. So I think there is nothing that is actually compelling to create an eventful accent at the end of all your lines. And yes, you know, it looks like a cathedral of this machine, but you know, so do train stations, and we need those big social spaces, and so maybe that's your intervention is a little bit of both, and you could not, maybe you kind of were in split mind as to which one should I concentrate on? Should I design the monster in the pit, or should I really go and make a huge model of one-to-one scale model of how you open the bookshelf? So, you know, it's a tough choice, but I think your project is really about both, and I kind of commend you for making a very interesting project. So, well done. Okay. Thank you. And I think we're now moving to Michael. Is he here?